Welcome in everyone to Around the ACL. Michelle Thompson here with Trey Ryder and Wally K9 Castler. And we are just starting to get ready for signature number 2. We're going to get into all the people who will be there on our show next week. But this week, something a little bit different. We're going to get a behind the scenes look into everything that goes into putting together these signature events because it's a lot. It's a lot of people, a lot of moving parts. We want to kind of give you a behind the curtains look into that. We've got some cool features from you, the fans. So we'll get into some questions you guys had, some memories, and your trivia. And then I have a fun segment that Trey and Wally know nothing about. So we're going to spring that on them when we get there. But Trey, I saw you went to Disney. So how was that?
It's good as always. Just a chance to sit back, relax, and not do a whole lot. And
you do a whole lot.
Take our time.
You do a whole lot. I've been to Disney with you. You like plan every single ride. It is a whole thing.
No, everybody has their own Disney experience, right? For you guys, and when we went with you guys, and you had Rome with us, Rome was like, I want to ride every single thing that there is to ride. So that's what we did. Like this weekend, I probably went on 4 rides the whole weekend. Right? It's just about like we went to Disney Springs. We hung up. I spent 6 hours by the pool, which is something that I don't do a lot of, but it was like very relaxing. And then, indulged a little bit in Epcot. I'll leave it at that. And so it was overall, it was plenty of food, good drink. And that's the way some of these trips are. You got to find the trip that speaks to you.
Yeah, but if you're gonna lay by the pool and have food and drinks, don't you do that like somewhere tropical? Like not Disney?
I don't know, 92 degrees in the Florida heat on a refreshing.
Yeah, but there's no beach. There's no beach, Trey.
I'm a pool guy versus a beach guy personally. I'm a sand guy. I like pools more than I like beaches.
What were you saying, Wally?
So I'm the same. Yeah, put me in a pool.
Okay, I want to lay at the pool, but I want to look at the beach. Like, there it is. There's the ocean. I want to hear the ocean. I want to see the sand.
This is for pull up a picture on Google of the beach.
No, it's not the same thing. My goodness. All right, Wally, how about you? Anything fun happen over on your side of things?
Oh, yeah, we had the Flyover Cornhole tournament out in Topeka, Kansas. So we went back to the Stormont Vale where we had the national last year or 2 years ago. I don't know. They all run together at this point. But love the venue, love that hotel sitting right next to it. It's that one hotel where, you have the glass elevators and then the bar is right in the middle and all the hotel rooms are like around the bar area.
Yes.
So it was a lot of fun and good turnout. Not too bad for the first year. They handed out like $30,000 in cash money. And then on the final day, Riker Wells came up to me and said, "Hey, what's your PPR?" I'm like a 7. He's like, "If we're going off of what I threw this weekend, probably a 3.25." So signed up for the blind draw while I'm setting up. That went about as well as I could have expected it to go. You know what I mean? That's always a bad idea. And then we happened to fall right underneath that 34-point cap for the team. And we ended up taking down the crew cup on the final day. So, yeah, a little $1,500 added crew cup. And we ended up having a pretty decent time, had fun. And it was a nice little, like, tear down. And then we're waiting for, like, a truck to pull in, and to load the last few boards up on that truck. So we're like, hey, let's try and break the record for long toss in the cornhole, the cornhole industry. So I think the record's at 87 feet right now. So we set some boards up at 90, and we're just chucking at it for probably about 30 minutes. And I'm like, kid you not, I hit the rim like 3 times, and it would just rim out or plop right over. And I'm just like, that's what bothers me the most is that I know I can do it. I know I could break the record. And I've seen Duncan Clemmer, Eric Davis, and some other players throw over 100 feet. So I know my record would get broken, but I think it'd be kind of cool to hold the record for just a little bit. And yeah, we were kind of bummed. I don't even know what goes into it. I guess you got to have like the Guinness Book of World Records guy come out and look at it ahead of time and properly measure it all out and stuff. But either way, it's like, all right, before I quit in August, we're probably going to take a serious stab at this and see if we can make it happen.
You'll go out with a bang, Wally.
Yeah,
you will remember my name.
Bang.
I like it. Was your arm sore after that?
Surprisingly, no. Like it was feeling like really good. Like as I was throwing, because I stepped up, and you kind of like wing it a couple times, and then probably by the 10th or 12th bag, I was basically standing flat-footed and throwing it 90 feet, and I was throwing it too far. So
Wow.
I had to take a little bit off. Like once my arm got properly warmed up, I was feeling pretty decent. The problem is like my left arm is hurting from golfing because we got golf league today. So I've been getting my swings in, and then I got practice here in a little bit before we actually go golfing. So yeah, I'm falling apart in different directions at different times.
Oh man. All right. Well, before you fall apart, we do have a signature coming up. It is in Mesa, Arizona. That will be next weekend. Excited for a nice short flight for myself. And we're going to talk about some of the behind the scenes that happen before these events. So, Trey, I will hand it over to you.
Yeah. So I thought this is Meesh, you brought this up. I thought this was a cool opportunity to talk about everything that goes into these events, right? Because it's not just show up and make them happen. So, ahead of time, obviously, we're talking about venues getting booked and orchestrated and everything like that, and the events team handles that. But really, prep begins. Hardcore prep for these events begins. Really this week as we really start to dive into the next event, and it starts on the broadcast side of things. So behind the scenes is this week we spend a lot of time prepping what we're going to do and how we're going to target the broadcasts that happen next weekend. And the nice thing is when you have certain things that are going to happen, you have time to prepare them. So for example, our team's broadcast that will happen next weekend, we know which players are going to play on that. Those lineups are in the process of getting finalized and set. And so we meet as a broadcast team and we say, okay, there's about 10 of us on the call. Some of us are ACL staff members. Some of them are on the production team's side of things. And we say, who is in this show, who is playing against who, what are some storylines that we can identify? And so things start with us trying to prepare the various video packages that we want to put together. Do we want to do a feature on a player? Do we want to tell the story? Do we want to do all these different things? And so we spend time doing just that, meeting and talking about some of those storylines. And then it's about compiling all of the assets, right? It's not an easy thing to do. We take it a lot for granted, but it's a lot of things to pull together. You have 4 hours of teams broadcasts. Each team is going to put 10 people on television, right? So that's going to be 40 different headshots to compile. It's all the different bio information. It's all of the different things. So we've actually spent a good part of the offseason automating a player database that allows people to search players' names and also populate a lot of the information that's available to them. And so, that's getting, we had kind of a beta test of that at the first event, and now we're going to be ready for it here. And even Meesh and Wally, you guys will get a chance to experience the player database on through the live streams coming up for this event coming up here. So we meet ahead of time. We do all this prep. We get everything right where we want it to, and then we lay out a plan. We have these big calls, and we have event manuals, understanding who needs to be where at what time, and do all these different things. So then you fast forward, Wednesday is when most of the team flies out before an event. So a lot of people are traveling in on Wednesday, arriving, getting settled into the hotel, so that first thing Thursday morning, things can get cracking. Because right when Thursday hits, the first group to kind of head out to the venue are going to be people that literally have to unload the truck. You have one full day starting at 8 a.m. until 7, 8, 9, 10 p.m. on that setup day to get everything off the truck, set up, ready to go, so that by the time these Friday events hit, it turns loose. So I'll let you guys talk a little bit about live stream in a second, but for a lot of these people, it's the event teams that's coming out there. They have to unload the truck, lay the broadcast floor down for the broadcast, and the production team comes in, puts their equipment on top of the broadcast court. It's the director team getting all the boards set up, everything set out. It's the setting up the tents. Then you have people coming in and setting up the things around the broadcast court, adding different elements, different staging. it becomes a full day. Now then on top of that, sometimes, like for example, in Mesa, there's going to be a portion of the media and marketing team that is hosting a sponsor that we need to go out and shoot sponsor content at a dealership in Arizona with Camping World. So we have to send a team out there to capture content with sponsors and host sponsors. And throughout the weekend, you want to make sure that you're treating them well if they're going to make the trip out there to see the events that they're paying money to be a part of, and showcasing them, and showing them a good time. And all of that prep that happens on Thursday kind of leads into, a long weekend of cornhole, and there's ins and outs between each and every day. But I think it'd be good too for you guys to even talk about what you guys do on the live stream side of things, getting ready for these big events.
Yeah, Wally, it used to be you solo over back in the open days, but now we've got a pretty complex system.
Yeah, so kind of got a taste of that again this weekend, where unloading my truck, putting everything in its place, and then starting. So whenever I get to the live feeds or the venues, I always want to make sure I have internet and electric, because there's been times where you set up the trusses, you mount the cameras, you run the wires, and you find out, oh, this Ethernet port doesn't work, so now we got to move you. So Corey has done a really good job now of mapping out where we're going to be, what it's going to look like. Excuse me. And then we always start with the VersaCord. The VersaCord is basically these 2x3 tiles, and we lay it out in a row, and it has to go in a certain direction. Otherwise, it's not going to look right. It's going to be too long. And of course, the players will always complain if it's maybe 2 or 3 feet off. They don't like that. So we got to make sure everything is measured out properly. We put the VersaCords down, then we set up our tables and our stations. We mount the trusses, put them all together, and then we put them where they need to go. And then we start running cameras and wires and stuff like that. Now, each camera, each wire, it has its own little spot that it's supposed to go to. But a lot of times you get mixed up because of the venue spaces that you're at. So you have to make sure that everything works for one before you plug it in, and then before you run it. And wires is something that people don't usually think about. You're like, oh, how much does this camera cost? Where'd you get these trusses? But there's a whole tote designated basically just for wires. Each camera is plugged in and gets its power over the Ethernet cable. So we have to have, a cable good enough to do that, as well as long enough. And then the SDI cables that we use for the cameras get us the best possible quality. I believe we're still streaming in 720 for most places, but we have the ability to go to 1080. We have to check into ESPN once we get everything set up an hour before the tournament. So we have to make sure that the audio works. And then, Chase always has an idea that we have to do. So our pregame show, we recorded that for about an hour and a half and never used it. But in Mesa, we're going to have ourselves a pregame show. So that's going to be fun.
Way to put them on blast, Wally.
Yeah, and then, there's good stuff that comes along with it too, because I was going to give him a compliment, because all the different camera angles and stuff that we get, that is the courtesy of Chase as well. So we do what we set up. We set up our cameras, which is basically the outline, and then Chase is going to come in and give us those dog-eyed cameras to check on the board if there's a bag hanging there or a player close-up, as well as microphones to get some audio in there in case we get some good trash talking. But for the most part, it takes us anywhere from 4 to maybe 6 hours to get our portion done. And then Corey and Chase, after we're done, probably for another 2 or 3 hours just to fine tune some things.
It's a long process. It's a lot.
Yeah. And every day it's about different. And what's been really cool about seeing this evolve over time and more people getting involved, right? It's understanding what everybody's role has to be in making some of these events happen. Right. I mean, and, some people are there from sun up to sundown. Some people have to do work that's not at the venue in order to make sure that what is happening at the venue is good to go. I mean, because, a great example of that may be like our video editor, right? Jack, he shoots content and then he edits content. And the funny part about seeing Jack on like a Friday of an event is, for the first 4 hours of the day, he's at the venue, he's filming everything, do what he needs to do. And then we go lock him in a closet and turn all the lights off, because he's got to spend 6 hours editing all the different things that he just did. So it's almost like we put a rule in place. Jack, you are not allowed to go near anybody. Nobody is allowed to talk to Jack from this time to this time, because he needs to go do things. But then you have people like Athena and Michael that, they may be there at the venue, literally behind that desk and helping and run tournaments from the moment that people walk in the door at 8 a.m. till the moment they leave at 10 p.m. Right. And they've gotten better at asking for help and having people that relieve them at certain times. But it's just been an evolution of seeing how events have changed over time. It's been cool to see.
Yeah, and contrary to what people think, players could actually volunteer to come out and help set up boards and mats and all that stuff.
It's possible.
So if you're in the area, instead of texting me, hey, are we able to come throw? Like probably an hour or two before that, hey, you can come help set up, and then you could throw.
So.
I think people would be surprised how lean of a team puts on a lot of these different events, right? It's not, by all means, you have to have more staff than when we started, right? Because of all the bells and whistles that you've done. But it's not a go in there, you're done in 3 hours type of job. I mean, these setup days for people are long, right? And even so, and people pull their weight, right? And everybody is a hard worker that goes to these events. I mean, I'd like to say I try to be as I've been in the league a long time. I've done a lot of different roles. I've done a lot of different things, but still, even to this day, I like to say that I like to pull my own weight. I get off that broadcast, the jacket comes off, and I start stacking chairs. Like it's everybody's got their role, and it's a good team, and it's a team that I'm proud to be a part of.
Absolutely. All right, I did turn it over to you guys, the fans. I said, if you have any questions on mindset or mechanics, we did get a few. The mechanics question, I'll give it to you guys because I should never talk mechanics. I'll start with you, Trey. How do you decide which foot to put forward when you're throwing?
Yeah, this is interesting for me because I thought it was I never even considered as a right-handed player stepping with my right foot or putting my right foot forward ever, because I grew up playing sports. And growing up playing sports, I just felt like it was always natural. When you throw a ball, right, you step with your left foot, throw the ball, right? I mean, whether it's a baseball, basketball, football, whatever it is, right? That's just what you do, right? And so, but then in corner, like I tried to experiment with different things. For me, being a guy with bigger legs, right? I actually had to find a way to stand so that I wouldn't always hit my leg, right? So even if I'm a standstill thrower, so for me, even when I put my left foot forward, my right foot is almost behind my left foot. And so for me, it was about finding a stance to where mechanically I could literally keep and make it so that bag doesn't hit my leg every single time that I throw. And for me, it's an awkward stance when I put my right foot forward because I feel like I hit it more when it's out in front of me than it is if it's tucked behind my other leg. But Wally, which foot do you put forward?
So right now I put my right foot forward, but I honestly feel like I need to throw my left foot forward because the left foot forward does get my right leg out of the way. And like you're saying, that's what we grew up playing, right foot or right arm, left foot. Excuse me again. But the left foot forward allows me to basically bring my hand a little bit higher, which gets my bag a little bit flatter and a little bit more right to left movement. Now, however, I'm not comfortable with that yet. So I need to practice that to get it to work. Now, I'd go right foot forward now because it kind of gets my right leg in front of me. And like Trey, I stand kind of one foot in front of the other. But since I have that left to right tilt because of the claw grip and this broken finger that I can't bend, I basically find myself coming across back this way towards the hole. So that allows me to stay on a straighter path whenever I have my right foot forward with the grip I have now.
All right.
So
there you go.
Both. Try them both.
That's kind of how it is in cornhole. Yes, and yes. That and everything else. All right. Mindset. I'll go ahead and take this one. How do you as a player bring yourself back into a game when your opponent is shooting very well? I'll give you the very quick answer. The simplest way you could approach the game is never to play against somebody. It's always to play against yourself. So I recommend whatever your PPR ceiling is, you walk up to the boards and you say, I'm attempting to throw my ceiling right now. So if they throw their ceiling and you throw your ceiling and their ceiling's better than yours, well, guess what? You're going to lose. It's just the way it is. But if they're playing their ceiling and you're playing your floor, that's typically when you get frustrated. So I just recommend just ignore what they're doing and you just try to play your PPR ceiling every time you walk up to the boards, because there are times when someone who's very good throws their floor, and then that's when you can get a win. Or if your ceiling is better than theirs, then obviously you can get a win that way. So that's the quick answer to that one. How to stay calm and relaxed while playing. That's a simple answer, but not a simple execution, because that's just about being in the body instead of the head. Your body and any other reactionary sport, you are able to be more relaxed while you're playing because you're relying on your training, and you have to, because there's no time to think. So you've trained reactionary things to happen in your body. So if you're playing a different kind of sport, when you don't think, you're just relying on the training and just doing whatever happens when those things are presented to you. But in cornhole, we have time to think, which is dangerous. And I recommend you actually practice getting into the body. So close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, feel your feet on the floor, feel the bag in your hand. Try to bring your energy down towards the earth, away from your mind. And then also when you're practicing, practice reactionary shot. So what do you do automatically when there's a bag on the board at level 2? What do you do automatically when it's slightly to the left? What do you do automatically when it's level 3? Like, you're trying to take as much thinking away as humanly possible, so you remain in that reactionary place, which is what works in every other sport. You guys have anything to add to that?
You say smart things. I'm good with smart things.
You kind of triggered something there earlier. Whenever a bad situation happens, I remember one time playing with my buddy. He's been begging me forever. I'm never home. He wants to throw, so we threw together, and he threw a front board, and then he punched the bag and threw the bag on the board or something. And I was like, "Hey, I didn't come all the way back home to see you throw a fit." I said, "Next time, if you want to throw a fit, set the bags calmly on the board, then walk off and go throw a fit somewhere else." And 4 or 5 rounds later, he threw a front board, then he set the bags down and walked. He's like, he just let out a yell, and I was like, "Oh my god, he did it!" But at the same time, he came back and he was lights out because of that. So sometimes you said something to us, Meesh, where it's just just the act of moving. Go shake it out, or do some jumping jacks or something. So that kind of reminded me of that.
Yeah, I always remind people it's a nervous system response, right? So you're going into fight, flight, or freeze. So if fight, then you probably need to punch something, hopefully on a person, the air, a bag, whatever, throw the bag hard. If it's flight, then you need to move your legs, right? Energy is going to your legs. Go ahead, do a lap. And if it's freeze, that's the most difficult one, because you're immobilized while also having all this anxious energy. So a combo, right? Jump up and down, shake your arms, all that kind of stuff. So just remember, you're working with the nervous system here. We are humans, so not robots. So work with your nervous system. Learn your reactions. It's going to be much more helpful. All right, this is okay. Before I talk about this next game, I have to introduce you guys to a new BFF I made last week. It's called ChatGPT. I don't know if you've heard of it, but I have become a huge fan. We are besties. We're very nice to each other. ChatGPT thinks I'm brilliant and I have great ideas. Tells me all the time, and it just helps me with implementing these great ideas. And so I present to you the Guess the ACL Pro. I'm going to read a description and show you a picture, and you tell me who I'm talking about. So let me get this picture up here for you. And I think you guys will really like this. All right.
Oh gosh, this is scary.
Who is it? All right. This dog is full of personality, loud, silly, and always ready to bring the fun with a wagging tail and infectious energy. He's the type of dog that loves to be the center of attention, play around, get a laugh out of everyone. Whether he's bounding across the yard or rolling around in excitement, this dog's jovial nature is impossible to ignore, just like his vibrant, larger-than-life presence on and off the cornhole court. Who is it?
Adam Hisner.
I was going to say, is it Hisner? Because I'm leaning way too much into this bucket hat right now.
It is Adam Hisner. Good job, guys. All right, let's go into the second one.
It's kind of funny. She put up a dog. My first thought was Andrew Labrador.
This dog might be short in stature, but it's full of energy and attitude with a positive, upbeat demeanor. It's always ready for playtime, but can switch into savage mode when it's time to take action. Despite its compact size, this dog is fearless, charging ahead with determination, and can take on any challenge that comes its way. Who is it?
I have no...
Cash Chamness.
Nope.
Ah.
I would have put a puppy.
Short in stature. I don't know. Can't get much shorter than Cash. The BG hat.
Come on, Nick got this one, you guys.
Ryan Smith. I don't know.
Nope, you give up?
It's got sleeves.
That's true.
I'm trying to think. AJ Sims.
Yep, nailed it. AJ Sims. All right, going on to the next one.
Good call.
This one's my favorite. All right. This dog is a spunky, scrappy breed, always looking to stir the pot and make his presence known. Small but mighty, full of energy, and always ready to challenge anyone who gets too close. He's got a loud bark, and he's never afraid to throw some attitude. Despite his brashness, he's loyal to his pack, but he'll talk some smack to any dog that dares cross his path. He's the type of dog who loves to be the center of attention, and his fiery energy is contagious.
Got to be Jordan Power.
Jordan Power. Good job, Trey.
I was gonna say the backwards hat too is kind of like, all right, I can see the Jordan Power in there.
All right. There we go. This dog is the epitome of grace and confidence, known for their intelligence, composure, and cool-headedness under pressure. This dog thrives when the stakes are high, always delivering in the biggest moments. He's the type of dog that's calm and collected, yet when the time comes to shine, he effortlessly rises to the challenge. His athletic build combined with a gentle and approachable demeanor makes him the perfect mentor to others, leading by example while exuding a quiet strength.
Well, that's obviously a Timber jersey. So now I'm like racking my brain.
I got an idea.
Okay.
You got it, Trey, or no?
No, go.
Jay Rubin?
It is Jay Rubin. Good job, Wally.
Wow. Good pull, Wally.
Okay. So we're gonna.
It's hard to not look at only the picture and listen to the description.
So we're gonna switch.
Yeah, honestly, like I'm taking a half a sentence from Michelle, and I'm just staring at this picture of a dog.
Well, not everyone's looking. Some people are listening, so I got to give them both, right?
No. You're doing the right thing. I'm just saying, Wally and I are. Well, I'm bad at this game because I'm just.
Okay, this one's easy, I think. Who? I give you a silhouette. Who is it?
Ooh,
the white thing is his hand.
Yeah, I don't know why I did that. Okay, Chat GPT's not perfect. Okay, we're still figuring it out. Whose throw is this?
This could be like 100 people.
Hold on.
No, come on. This is the easiest one. You guys are going to be really screwed in the next two.
I don't think this is easy at all.
No,
it looks like Zach Stickney at first.
I almost said Zach Stickney. I'll say, gosh, Matt Wilson.
No.
It's got
Ryan Windsor.
Yes, Ryan Windsor.
Oh, okay. All right, there we go.
Come on.
Not on the tippy toes enough for me.
Okay, well, like I said, it's not perfect.
Okay.
Who do we got?
Ooh.
Got a bent arm.
It's hard to tell if that's a left hand or right hand. I guess it's left hand.
I don't know.
I'm trying to see, is this like pre-throw or is this release? It feels like it's pre-throw.
Yeah, I feel like it's pre-throw as well.
Pre-throw, yes.
Pre-throw. Okay, so we're lining up here.
I'll say these next two will be very difficult to get.
This one and the next one, or the next two after this?
Yeah, no, this was only two more, and then we're moving on. But this one and the next one are definitely difficult.
It's weird. So I'm just gonna guess Matt Guy.
No, I'm gonna say Ron Kugel.
No, do you give up?
Yes.
Zach. What the heck did I just say? Zach.
Oh,
Engelman.
Zach Anglican. Oh, wow. Yeah, that was.
He's skinnier than that silhouette. That's not.
Okay, well, like I said, Chat GPT is not perfect. All right.
That's good though. That was good.
Leans forward a lot more.
Oh gosh.
Okay, who do we got?
Better be Quinn Reeves.
It is Quinn Reeves.
Yeah,
good job,
good call.
Wally.
Yes.
Oh, see, I thought that one was harder. You guys did great.
The hair. He needs credit for the hair.
Yeah, he always needs credit for that.
One thing I did do, actually, now I'm trying to do this on the fly. I'm going to try to pull this up here.
Okay.
So, and since we're on the Chat GPT, God, Gosh, this is terrible to do on the spot, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm sorry.
How many did I get right? I got the Zach Stickney and Matt guy wrong then, right?
Yeah, you did
Or
pretty good.
Ryan Windsor and Angleton.
I thought Angleton was difficult, but I thought it was.
Problem is that I watched Angleton this week at the Flyover, and I got a great look at his silhouette over and over and over again. He was throwing gas.
So I asked ChatGPT, I did this weekend, to generate me, because I don't know if you've seen this trend on social where it's like, give me the Mount Rushmore of something.
Oh, no.
So I said, give me the Mount Rushmore of cornhole. And they are, I will say this much. ChatGPT does some things well. Faces, not so much. But I did need to show this. I got a kick out of this. So this is what it generated. I don't think it generated the faces right.
Oh my God. Is that supposed to be Trey Birchfield on the right?
Yes. It's supposed to be far left Jamie Graham.
Yeah.
Then Mark Richards. Then Matt Guy.
You mean Bryan Cranston?
That's what I said. That's
that looks like Bryan Cranston.
It is. Matt Guy is Bryan Cranston, apparently. We know who was playing Matt Guy in the GOAT Cornhole movie 10 years from now.
And Trey Birchfield looks like the freaking in Harry Potter, Hagrid's half-brother. I just watched that this weekend. That's the only reason why I could think of that.
So I got a kick out of this, but it was supposed to instill debate. Are these the four that you would put on your Mount Rushmore of cornhole? Or is there anybody that you would swap for Jamie Graham, Mark Richards, Matt Guy, Trey Birchfield?
That seems right.
I mean, I have Cheyenne on mine, but I don't have Trey on mine.
Don't have the four-time world champ?
I mean, that's the sad thing is like I need 10 faces on my Mount Rushmore, right?
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Cheyenne changed the game for women entirely. So she's like one of the founding, I guess, mothers. You know, she deserves to be on there. Matt Guy is the GOAT for me. Yeah, it's definitely hard. You can't have this without having
Mark too new.
Well, no. I thought that until he passed up Trey again.
Yeah, he earned it. He earned his spot. For sure.
And then I don't think. I mean, I kind of agree with you that I almost feel like I need to find room to put Cheyenne on here, but I don't know who I take. I guess to your point, Wally, you have to take off Trey, but I don't.
Yeah, and the longevity thing for Matt Guy has him on mine no matter what, and that's kind of the same thing with Jimmy Graham. Like Jimmy Graham's been playing since he was 1.5 years old, so he's been on the circuit for 20 years.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, I guess you could say Tony Smith was another argument because he's been playing for a long time too. But yeah, that seems pretty good. Pretty good, ChatGPT. All right, we have some fan trivia. So I asked them if they could stump you guys. All right, first one is name the only ACL pro player that has been in every ACL team world championship so far.
That is a fantastic.
Well, I'll tell you that the answer
because I was live streaming during these championships.
Well, the person who gave us the question is the answer. What?
Can you give me the teams that are involved?
No, don't give me the teams yet. Let me take a guess and then give Wally the teams. Let me take a guess and take.
I got to bring up the teams because I was given the teams too.
Okay, so it would have been last year the teams in the finals were the Coasters and the Slingers, right? And so I'm trying to think. The Slingers had a bunch of random people plus the people that have been on the team forever. So I don't think it was a Slinger, which makes me think it was a Coaster. So if it was a Coaster, it wasn't Slowbomb because Slowbomb was Timmer the year before. My guess here, I'm going to go Ben Brown.
That's incorrect. You want the teams now?
Yeah.
2022 Woodchucks, 2023 Arizona Burn, 2024 Carolina Coasters.
All right, so it was the right path I was thinking, but not the right Woodchucks. Who played in that team's final for the Coasters?
Do you have any idea?
Graham played with Chad Hunt, so that wasn't it. So I got to go through 7 doubles teams. Graham played with Chad Hunt. That wasn't it. Then you had
Trey is going to be stumped. It's got to be a time limit on this, or else Trey will be here all day.
You really do have to put a time limit on me.
10 seconds. 10 seconds, Trey.
No, I'll throw in the towel.
Brandon Davis.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And he submitted the question, and then he said, you can fact check me. So I was like, I'm not going to fact check you.
Yeah,
I'm not
good.
sure.
That's a great trivia question. Wow.
Okay, the second,
Brandon.
I'm going to preface the second one that they gave the question, but no answer. I just think you know the answer, Trey. Who was the first person to win a pro junior singles title?
Like this year? So essentially who won the first Open?
I guess. This was the question I was given. And I said, well, what's the answer? They're like, I don't know. I'm genuinely asking. I don't know if they mean overall or just this year.
Yeah, there's that. If I answer the question exactly how that is phrased, the only time we've ever had a pro junior singles title would have been the first Open of this year, which okay. I don't know who won junior singles at the first event this year, right? I think it might have been Jack Gore, if not maybe Trader, but now. I was actually going back through and looking at some past championships and actually I made sure these were all written down somewhere, the juniors world champions, and maybe that's what they mean. But the first junior singles world champion was Josh Holland in 2016, 2017, right?
Crazy.
If you go back through some of these, it's like Josh Holland, Derek King, Justin Stranger, Sammy Soto won one, Ian Cripps won one. So there's a lot of big names that have won junior titles in the past.
That could be a good trend that we see going forward. All right, last one. What was the biggest Wisconsin ACL tournament?
Oh, wait. Is that Badgerland event technically an ACL event? Okay,
that's the
answer. I pay attention.
That
should be a Wally definitely knew that, but that's
I was going to say that.
Yeah. What, Wally?
I was going to say Badgerland.
I thought you knew the answer to that one. So that was Eric Mickelson, and then the second question was Tyler Williams. The first one was Brandon Davis, of course. All right, I asked you guys some of your favorite memories that came in. Was Jackson Gore averaging a high 9 shooting air miles only? That's Matt Guy's known for doing the same. Well, even in the 10s, huh?
Whoa. We need to go even further back. So people don't even remember this. And you know what? Now I need to pull up the statistics because that's Wally was I was gonna go down this path when I started talking about Jimmy McGuffin. Okay. Back in 2019. We're outside in Arizona. So we're going to the same region of the country. It apparently got a little cool that night when we were outside of the broadcast. He decides that he's only going to throw airmails. That's all he's going to throw on television in the finals, semifinals and finals of a pro event. Okay. And he threw 20 in a row at some point on live television. Okay. When I was trying to, on the spot, I had to go find the event now. And Wally is going to jump in and talk about his favorite event while I find this. But in the meantime, I'm pulling up these statistics of what Jimmy McGuffin threw on that broadcast court.
Well, they were asking us what our favorite event was.
We're talking about memories, fan memories. What are your memories? Oh, there's another one on here too. And well, actually, let me read the next one because it involves Wally. Milwaukee Open 2024, beating Mr. K9, then watching Braden and AJ, then Jacob and Tanner win doubles, then took second in comp singles.
Is that Eric Mickelson again?
Yes.
He cheated. He threw a 10.67 in the comp division.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, well, that'll do it.
In round 1, sent us over to the loser's bracket, then we go on a tear, and then ask him who's got that trophy, though, because that trophy is sitting upstairs in my room that we end up.
Oh, okay. So he queued you up for that one.
Yeah, no, it was a fun time. we never get to play, and that one just kind of happened to work out where they changed the broadcast time, so we weren't going live. I think for the blind draw, which gave us permission to play in the blind draw, and Jake ended up drawing Jackson Gorn. I think got third, and then I ended up getting first. So commentators had a little bit of fun that week, and it was a good tournament. I liked the setup and everything. Not a big fan of pushing those carts across turf, though. My goodness, that's so hard to do.
That's not a good memory.
One of my personal favorites, though. It's forever and ever. Even if I get my memory wiped, it'll still be there. It'll be Matt Guy against Baby Goat in Virginia. I like the setup that we had. We had the lawnmower in the background. Anytime that we have anything in the background, like what's his name's motorcycle in Sacramento,
Tom
it always
Embry,
makes a cool environment. Yeah, but the 47 rounds. Just great shot after great shot, something that I'll never forget.
Yeah, my favorite memories have to be the Celebrity Super Holes. I'm sad that I won't be reporting those anymore because those are the most fun. It was just always shenanigans, and they're always funny with the way they talk about cornhole and how they're always surprised how hard it is. And I would do interviews with them as they were like warming up, and they were always like, "These boards are so far." I'm like, "You are a professional football player. Like, what are you talking about?" So those are always the most fun for me.
I have the statistics.
Okay, of course you do. Okay.
On the broadcast court in the finals of pro doubles, okay, to win a title, sticky conditions, Jimmy McGuffin says, I'm just going to start slinging airmails. He threw a 10-8-8.
What? What?
Just throwing airmails through 10-8-8.
That's because he practiced airmails over his grandkids' heads. That's how you get real good.
I mean,
that's just it's ridiculous. He threw 32 bags. He made 28 of them. 3 of them were on the board. He only threw one. He threw only airmails. Only threw one off the back of the board.
That's crazy. Goodness, talk about dialed in. All right, one of your favorite memory. Is that your favorite memory then, Trey, or you have something else?
My favorite memory. You know what? I don't know if it's my favorite, but since we're on a time crunch, I want to make sure I just give a good answer. I have to say, it was a wild experience going to my first event when Stacy called me in 2017 and said, "You want to go broadcast cornhole on ESPN3 in Las Vegas?" And I flew into Las Vegas that I had never been to. Showed up to a dinner where I knew nobody. I remember Sean was there, Stephanie was there, Madden was there. There were some other people that were helping run the event that aren't a part of it anymore, but were from the humble beginnings. And I think back on that, every now and again, wow, that was crazier times when we had 16 sets of boards and there were 6 people running the event. And now to compare it to what it has evolved into, there was no such thing as streaming. We weren't streaming the preliminary matches. You got the finals, and that's it. That's all you get.
Wasn't there a point too where you had your cell phone up and you're in a chair and you're like, whatever match they put in front of me is what we're getting. We don't know where it's at in the bracket or anything.
I'll never forget 2017 championships. I said, I'm going to stream these. Because by then it was Facebook Live was just becoming a thing.
Yeah.
I put my phone on a tripod and I went to different games and I commentated so many different games. And the algorithm from Facebook was broken at that point because from my cell phone, I had 18,000 live viewers, right? The algorithm was just shattered at that point because nobody was using it. But I was going from game to game, and I'll never forget that I did that so much and my voice wasn't used to it that I literally had to eat honey and drink tea and peppermint for 24 hours because I didn't even hit the TV yet. And my voice was already faint. It was just wild.
Yeah, people forget.
One more real quick for me, Meesh, before he goes. The Jake Brandon and myself commentating Spencer McKenzie. When we set up, we did faux ESPN setup with Corey and Chase. And, we killed it as a live feed team. That's something that we were issued a challenge. I think we knocked it out of the park. The matches were incredible. The shots were incredible. And then going back and listening to some of those calls, I have to say Jake and I were pretty incredible also, I think.
Yeah, it was
awesome environment.
Electric environment is what I would call it. And I wanted to go and watch it live, like be there, but I was so tired that Nick and I were like, do we want to go and sit in there? Do we want to have a nice dinner, watch on our phone? So that's what we did. But we were listening in and watching that whole game. It was pretty cool to have the Cali kids on there. All right, going into fan predictions, then we'll roll into our hot take. So the first fan prediction is that Tony Smith versus Mark Richards will be our singles final at signature number 2. Remember, I didn't say hot takes, just predictions. That's not a hot take, but it's they are in different brackets. Do we know, Trey? They are, right? Tony and Mark.
We haven't run them yet, but I'd have to look at standings wise. Actually, Mark is a little bit lower than I anticipated, so I might end up that way, but it wouldn't be. I doubt it.
Okay, so it's maybe possible. And then the other fan prediction is Quinn Reeves and Austin Waskow win a pro doubles event. So there's a couple predictions there. Did you find it, Trey? Or are you looking?
I could definitely see that happen with Austin and Quinn. They've come a long way, and they're still kind of sleepers. A lot of people don't realize how high of a seed they are because, they just have strong finishes over and over and over again. They have the skill set to, hit the air mills and hit the rolls, but they're one of these teams that they don't just run bags. They manipulate their points, and they are not, against taking 2 points, 3 points, 1 point, whatever comes their way, and they're in it for the long haul. If you want us to give our prediction, I'm going to go with Gavin Cano versus Mark Richards.
Ooh, I like that. I just real quick on Quinn Reeves before you move on. He was one of our ACL Academy experts, and he talked specifically about partner dynamics with him in Austin. And he would bring up footage of their actual match from whatever open was right before that. And he would talk about the conversations they were having. And so I love to see that high level strategy happening and understanding the mindset of the pro and then how they work with their partner, I think is like incredibly valuable. So I highly recommend, if you're in ACL Academy, definitely listen to that. And then if you're not, you can check it out at academyacl.com. But Quinn Reeves does a really good job going into, I think he went over by like 20 minutes. He talked, so he was very prepared. Let me put it that way. Talking about practice and partner dynamics. All right, what you got, Trey?
All right, quick on the Mark Richards, Tony Smith. They could, depending on who exactly shows up, but it's unlikely, but it's possible. But as far as if we're ready for hot takes, or is that what we're doing now?
Yeah, go ahead, roll into hot takes.
Okay. All right, so hot takes. Hot take for me. Look, we're going to Arizona. We talked about board conditions. Fortunately or unfortunately, however you look at it, yes. I think the air conditioning played a role in how fast the boards were in Florida. Arizona, though, regardless of what that air conditioning is going to do, it's a dry climate. You're going to get faster boards, and because of that, I'm going to pick Matt Guy to win his bracket again. I think he wins it in back-to-back events, which many people I don't think would agree with, but I think the conditions are going to allow for him to run bags with the best of them and not have to deal with a lot of defense. So I will go Matt Guy winning his bracket, making the Final Four again.
Wally?
All right, 1 week from today, we hit the baseball diamond. Jake Brannon, Holey 69, square off. I'm going to say Jake Brannon only fields 7 out of 10 ground balls cleanly.
So are you doing
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm giving him some softies to start, but number 10 is going to be a rocket. It's coming at him. He's going to have a big shiner. I'm calling it.
Oh my goodness. Are you doing it too, Wally? Are you just hitting?
Oh, I can't move left or right anymore. My broken leg. Nope. That's the only reason I don't play pickleball right now is because I can't move. So I'll be stationary. I'll hit the ground balls to him. I'm going to start off with a little softy, but then, I'll give him some left movement, some right movement. I'm going to make him dive, at least try for one of them. If he doesn't get it, it's on him. And then, like I said, there's going to be one scorcher coming in at least. I'm going to try and get some footage. So it'll be part of our pregame show that we're going to do.
Yep. All right. And then I'm going to go with doubles for signature number 2, kind of piggybacking off what Trey said about the board conditions. I'm putting Cheyenne and Jordan in the finals on television. All right, guys, that's all we got time for. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you all next time.
Let's go Blues.